Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Jordan and Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know.
Jordan and Keith.
From pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Hey everyone, and thanks for listening to the GSMC Music Review Podcast with Captain Keith, Lieutenant Mariano, and Corporal Jordan is still lost in the trenches somewhere, but we shall find him soon. Together,
Yes.
together or in pieces, as long as we find him.
Well, I'm sure we'll find him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll pop up eventually.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
Good. Right on. Right on.
All right, now we've got. Did you? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We've got two great albums to review now. The first is Tricky, Skilled Mechanics, and The Night Beats, Who Sold My Generation?
Yes. It's a good question. Did your generation get sold, or are they just fine?
I don't know, I didn't tell
The
it.
kids going to be all right? I don't know.
I like that song.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start off with Night Beats.
Okay.
Who Sold My Generation? Trio, indie rock band. They have kind of like a garage psychedelic rock sound. They remind me a little bit of the Black Ribbon Motorcycle Club, and they also remind me a little bit of like I hear some Stooges, Iggy Pop kind of influence on some of the stuff as well.
Yeah, they have like a cool kind of grungier sound. But
Yeah.
I like this. What are they called? The Black Keys. They almost have a little bit of that kind of sound to them.
Yeah, I can see that similarity.
Or like
yeah,
some
a little bit.
or like some
musically.
Queens of the Stone Age a little bit.
Yeah, I can see some similarities. Definitely. So yeah, when you say Queens of the Stone Age, then that gets you in that whole stoner rock realm.
Is that is that what you call it? I like
apparently, yeah, they call Queens of Stone Age and stuff like that stoner
rock.
I know, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. That, them, and Wolf Mother and some other groups. But yeah, Baroness and yeah, it's a trip, man. It's a trip. But yeah, this album, a great cover art. You know, you see the three guys.
Yeah.
I think they're like in a Camaro or a Chevy or something, and they're hanging out the window, and there's a marquee above them that says, you know, Night Beats, Who Sold My Generation. Only thing missing is a question mark. But hey, that's the English in me. So my English teacher would be proud. But yeah, so they pose a good question. This album, good record. Definitely, it's definitely strong record with some dark overtones sonically. It's very reminiscent to me of like a 60s psychedelic, 70s psychedelic sound.
That's kind of how I was thinking of it, like an Austin Powers soundtrack. It was really good.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were gonna think I was crazy too when I said that. I was like,
No.
I kind of got like a funkadelic kind of groovy sound from it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's and it's like, and I believe I'm saying this, but it's all to me, it's kind of like motorcycle music, man.
Motorcycle music in the 70s, maybe 60s?
Just like I could see myself riding a motorcycle
okay.
and listening to this, man, on the open highway, man.
How dare you when they're in a car?
I know, right? But it gives me that kind of vibe. It's just, it
gives me like one of those vibes where you're having like a pool party and your parents come home, so there's that light switch that you flick and like the bar goes away and everybody.
I like that. Yeah. Tracks I like are basically Celebration No. 1, the first track. I like Power Child. Porque Mañana, I like that track a lot. Shangri-La and Last Train to Jordan, I like a lot. The whole album is good to me, but Last Train to Jordan reminded me, like the drums in the beginning of that track reminded me of the Stooges, like No Fun. That's when I could hear that Stooges influence from Iggy and the Stooges. That punk rock influence. I heard it on that track. I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, it's there. But yeah, it's sonically, this is an interesting album. It's cool. It's like a direction rock and roll is supposed to be in, I think, and that it's just not getting the type of exposure and airplay that it deserves.
I know, it's weird because I hadn't heard of this album, but I really liked it. I liked Egypt Berry too, that last song.
Oh, okay.
That had a good sound to it.
Yeah. But it's a cool record. And they're asking a question. I'm still trying to figure out what the answer is to it about who's my generation.
Sold my generation.
You know, and they're giving that look like we want we want you to tell us because
they're giving you the look like tell us or you're going to get beat up by
by
three guys in an old car.
yeah. So in some ways I wonder if it's kind of like a sequel to the Who's The Kids Are All Right, where they're laying surrounded by the flag on the floor. You know. So, because at that point, the kids were supposed to be all right in the 70s, and now it's, it's 2016, and it's like, where's rock and roll headed? What's going on with it? So
I don't know, because rock and roll was in a lull for a while, and then it kind of popped back up.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, because it doesn't seem to have the eye that it used to have.
That's when was Green Day's last album?
That's a good question. I have to look
But it's
that
been a
up.
few years, and then there was kind of this like a lull, and then all of a sudden the new people come, like 21 Pilots and AWOL Nation, and then all of a sudden Weezer came out with their new album, and and then rock kind of started coming back a little bit.
Okay, I mean, some people will argue though there's a lot of other indie rock out here for us to know about that we're just not talking about or haven't been exposed to.
Yeah,
and I used to.
I don't know because I can see that point, but what I mean is like rock hasn't had kind of the appeal, like the mass appeal or the eye, like for a few years.
Because hip hop's the new rock and roll,
right?
At this point, that's why, and that's something that people have maybe they've been afraid to say it. I mean, Kanye West said it, but before he said it, I already felt that way.
Well, I was saying
before
it
him.
Yeah, I was saying it earlier. Was that hip hop is the new like mainstream thing?
Yeah, it's the new rock and roll.
But
but don't forget, rock and roll had like
yeah.
over 4 decades.
Oh yeah, rock and roll
reign.
had a crazy reign. Yeah.
So,
did rock and roll have the biggest reign?
Probably for pop culture wise, yes.
Yeah.
Pop culture wise, yes, the biggest and the most dominant reign up until now.
But I'm seeing an upward.
Because you figure it started in the 50s with Chuck Berry,
right?
So yeah, and then it went on up into basically. Well, some might even argue that once Kurt Cobain was gone, that was kind of a wrap. So that depends on who you talk to, though.
Yeah,
but, I mean, rock and roll is still making some interesting things, but yeah, I mean, hip hop has become the new rock and roll. But
the Chili Peppers, I think, have done an okay job.
Well, and they have, but once again, though, they're part of a vanguard now. They're not a new group, so I mean, they're a part of of history with Jane's Addiction and Fishbone and other rock and roll groups and the alternative scene, because people forget that there was a time where they were not on the radio, where they were just a college rock man.
Right.
So now you have groups like the Night Beats out here doing their thing, and you're going to find this probably on college radio. And ideally we want to see them, hit the mainstream. Mm-hmm. So, because this album definitely does have attitude.
I was going to say, I think they have the sound to do it. Like if, Stone Temple Pilots and all these guys are out right now, I think sound is kind of in their favor right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a new and a retro rock and roll sound,
right?
Coming together. So yeah, definitely, I agree. So, where do you rank this album?
This album is hard for me because I haven't heard too many albums with this kind of like 60s funky sound. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to rank this one purely.
Well, let me ask you before you tell me that.
Okay.
How did it make you feel when you heard it?
I was just about to like,
okay.
Yeah. I thought like in my head, since that I don't really have much to compare it to. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to rank it just purely on how much I enjoyed it.
Right.
How's that?
Yes.
So let's go for a 7.5.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so 7.5 is fair. I mean, that's still a good rating. How did it make me feel? So because they have an album before this called Sonic Boom that I like a lot too, and I had to make sure that I divorced myself from that record when I was listening to this one, because sometimes you can get biased by the last album they did. I mean, I've been guilty of that way too often, so that's why it's. When we review these records, I like to listen to them over and over again, because a lot of times the first time I hear it, I'm just like, I come back to it, minutes or hours later, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and you're like, actually, okay.
Yeah. So for this record, how it made me feel, it made me feel really good, man. It made me feel, what's the word I'm looking for?
Nostalgia?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It made me think of 60s and 70s rock in a good way, and it also and some garage and some punk, and it also made me feel a little bit rebellious, a little rambunctious. It made me feel really good and alive, man. It's a good record. I'm gonna have to give it I'm gonna. But the only thing about the album, though, I felt like was that the production could have been a little bit. I always like to have more bass, especially in my rock and roll. I never get enough bass in my rock. A little bit more bass, and I felt like the production could have been a little bit more diverse. Sometimes I felt like some songs ran together, and other ones didn't. So because of that, I'm gonna have to give it a 7.
Okay, yeah, I can see those points,
and I felt like the album before that didn't have that problem, but that's okay.
I can see the bass point, but it doesn't like change my rating.
Yeah, that's good.
The reason why I don't have the problem of the songs running together is because I kept an eye on my phone while I was listening, so I was very aware of when like the tracks changed. So I kind of made a little mental note, like, okay, new song, kind of clean slate,
right?
But they had a nice. It must be hard too. I mean, if all the songs, not all, but if some songs start to sound a little similar, it must be hard to make songs of this kind of, sound when they're the only ones that I've heard lately that sound like this. So there's really not too much to go off of.
It's all about the producer, bro. It's all about making sure you're being pushed to do the best that you can and to go into territories that you probably wouldn't go before, to make everything sound like its own little world when you're making a song or composing a song, in my opinion. But we'll talk some more after this break. Well, after this break, we're going to get into the Tricky album, Skilled Mechanics, and then the wrap-up. So we'll see you in a minute.
See ya.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And we are back. Yes, the Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast with Lieutenant Mariano and Captain Keith. And we just finished talking about Night Beats, Who's So My Generation. Great indie rock record. Check it out. Now we're about to talk about Tricky, trip hop pioneer, hip hop guy, Tricky from Bristol, England. His new CD, it's called Skilled Mechanics. And it's a collaboration with DJ Milo and Luke Harris. And this album, wow. So what did you think of this record, man?
I liked it. First of all, this is, I want to say, their 8th album.
Yeah.
And I had no idea Tricky has been making music since 1995.
Yeah, bro. He's the real deal, man.
21 years.
Tricky originally came from a group called The Wild Bunch that evolved and morphed into a group called Massive Attack. And he's on the first 2 records, Blue Lines and Protection.
I'm looking at Massive Attack right here in 1991.
Right. And then his seminal album, Max and Quay, which is named after his mother, Maxine Quay, came out, and it just blew open the musical borders and boundaries. People lost their minds when that album came out. It's a great record. And if trip hop wasn't a genre between him and Portishead, it became one at that point.
Right.
So, and I always tell people, to me, trip hop is nothing but British people doing hip hop. So, but everyone had to have a fancy little coin and term for it. But this album, I like it. It's a great record. We wanted to do this review because we weren't sure if people knew he had a new album out. So, because Tricky is the type of cat, when he started blowing up in England, he moved to New York and he told people that he moved to New York because nobody cares about you out here. They don't care who you are. So you can walk around and be, a regular person. So he wanted to avoid all that notoriety and fame he was getting over in England and in Europe. So that's the type of personality that he has. So I say that to say that he doesn't care about what goes on in the mainstream. He just does his thing. And because he started in the 90s, it was such a time where so many artists were all sounding the same, and there was so much cookie cutter music coming out. Mm-hmm. When he came out with Massive Attack and then he went to do his own thing, these were artists that literally created their own sound, and they sounded like nobody else, and they stood out. And that, to me, was such a big deal to see somebody creating their own sound sonically in the sea of so many pretenders and copycats.
Sound sonically in the sea of so many.
I said that, didn't I?
I like that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like this album a lot. I like I'm Not Going. I like Hero. Beijing to Berlin. I love the bounce to that. And then with Tricky, so here's an MC who is not obsessed with his voice. He gives you that sleepy mumble voice, that sleepy, seductive kind of mumble voice that we know and love from him, but he's never afraid to put a vocalist in front of him and then have him back up that vocalist almost like a hype man. Mm-hmm. He's never afraid to do that, whether it's a new female vocalist or, one from his old school camp like Martina. I mean, he does that, and he does it really well, and I like that. And sometimes on his record, it'll just be his music and someone else just singing. So, like on Beijing to Berlin, when you hear that track, I mean, so, he likes to work with different people all the time. His collaborative efforts are really great on his records. What were you about to say? You got that thinking look.
No, yeah, I was just thinking of Beijing to Berlin, and I think that you're right. I remember when I was hearing that song in particular, I listened to that one again just last night. Mm-hmm. And he has this, I've never really listened too much to trip hop, but he has this unique kind of, I like this sound.
Yeah. It's him. It's all him.
Man.
For better or for worse. He does it his way.
But it's for better. I like his sound. And it's just something so different, yet it's done so well. Because it's weird to me that it's different, yet hits you with that kind of familiar feel because you like it.
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely.
That's insane.
And like I said, he's not afraid to take risks, and you see it and hear it all the time. And 9 times out of 10, it pays off for him. So yeah, but Beijing to Berlin is, it's just a cool knocking track. I like it a lot, and Ivy's the vocalist on it, and it just goes. And then Boy, the autobiographical about his upbringing. Unfortunately, his mom, she killed herself when he was young, right? So he didn't meet his father till he was a certain age, and he talks about that in the song. His dad's name was Roy. He forgot my name and called me Boy. My nana lost her daughter, and then she lost her son. I mean, he pours it out for you. But he does it in such a way you're there. You're there. You're listening, and you can kind of see it. It's just he paints a really good picture, and it's just I like that song a lot. I like Hear My Dear. I mean, the whole album I like. It's just a smooth, flowing record. How do you describe? I mean, when you hear this music, I mean, how do you describe it?
How do I describe? I describe this as let me put it this way. I like music because you can listen to it at any time and you can kind of multitask.
Right.
I like movies because they kind of captivate you and hold your attention. This album kind of captivates you and holds your attention.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I felt about this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's solid all the way through. The production is amazing. And it's just interesting too, because you never know where he's going to go.
Yeah, it's so different that you almost wonder. It's almost as thought-provoking as like the movie Nerve, where it's like you hear one song and you're like, there's kind of that adjustment period of, okay. And then, 30 seconds later, you're just like, all right,
Yeah.
And then it ends and you're like, where's this going to, and then it starts all over. Okay. And then 30 seconds later, like it's different, good and I don't know how to like just. I like it, but it's hard to like describe it.
Yeah, it's tricky, man.
Yeah,
welcome to Tricky, bro. Yeah, that's who he is.
Is that why it's tricky?
Right.
But I like this album though. In fact, I like it so much. I think I'm gonna go back and check out the older.
Yeah,
like the older.
Yeah, I would encourage you to. I would encourage you to pick up Maxine Quay, his first record. That's a good album. Pre-Millennium Tension is a good album. I mean, he's got a lot of good records, man. What else do I from him that you should check out that's just really good? Angels with Dirty Faces.
I was just looking at that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, 1998.
Oh yeah, that's a good album. And Juxtapose. Oh yeah, like I said, you really won't be disappointed with his catalog. I mean, he's out of what you said, 8 studio albums? How many albums to say that he has?
8.
6 of them are totally on point.
Oh really?
Yeah,
including this one.
Oh yeah,
I like this one.
Oh yeah. My rating for this record is gonna be a 10.
My rating for this one is going to be. Again, I'm going to have to fall to the same rules as the last one. I haven't really heard too much that sounds like this.
Yes.
So just judging on how it made me feel and how it captivated me and, really, I guess what music is supposed to do, I'm going to go 9.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But these are strong ratings. So for all you people who like Tricky, who didn't know he had a new album out, pick it up. Skill Up Mechanics came out this year. You won't be disappointed. We're going to do the wrap-up after this break, so don't go anywhere. Captain Keith.
Lieutenant Mariano.
All right. Golden State Media Concepts. Commercial time.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be, visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey, welcome back. This is Captain Keith.
Lieutenant Mariano.
All right. And Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast. We were just talking about the Tricky record, Skilled Mechanics, great album, and Night Beats with Who Saw My Generation, another great album. So in regards to Skilled Mechanics, I gave it a 10 for my rating and got some more information for you. So Diving Away is a song on the new album, and that's a cover of a Porno for Pyros song. For those of you who don't know, Porno for Pyros is the group that Perry Farrell created once Jane's Addiction broke up. So that was that's the band that he formed after Jane's Addiction broke up. So so that's a cool song that Tricky covers. And then there's a beautiful song on this album called Bother. And that's actually a Stone Sour cover. And Luke Harris, who's Tricky's tour drummer, is the one singing the vocals on that track with Tricky in the background. Tricky redid the music, of course, and does the background vocal. So this Skilled Mechanics is a project basically from DJ Milo, who was part of the Wild Bunch, the group that Tricky was in before Massive Attack, and Luke Harris, who was his drummer. So and they made this album together. So those are tracks that you definitely want to check out that stand out. Of course, Beijing the Berlin, which is from Ivy, who's a
And I think that says something China, about these songs, that even amongst a great album like this, those songs still stand out.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. Definitely. So, so this is definitely a great record. If you're looking for something different, something that's going to move you and take you to a whole different place, this is it. This is an album that, if you're driving and listening to this record, it takes you on a whole new different route that may be off the path, but you like it.
Yeah. It's one of those albums that just
takes you out in outer space, man.
Takes you away.
Yeah, definitely. And Tricky stuff does that though, because you could just hear in his voice. he walks to his own tune.
I think I finally discovered the words that I was looking for when trying to describe how I felt about this album.
Oh, what's that?
It's got a lot of gravity to it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it pulls you in. It sucks you right in. Because you get used to one song, and then the next song is totally like different.
Every song is just such an occasion, you know? It's
Yeah.
What a good album.
Yeah, but it's still all cohesive because it's still all familiar. It's still linked together.
Right.
So.
It's almost as if it's linked together in that all of it is so different, you know?
I agree. Yeah,
I like it.
Exactly. So, yeah. And then the Night Beats. Great album. Yeah, like I said, I like it a lot. And you were right when you talked about like the Black Keys. And
and the Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
They have that kind of funky...
Yeah, definitely. A vibe that's similar to that.
Right.
Because I saw that, and I wanted to talk about that one song where I was feeling that. And that song that I'm talking about is...
Yeah, I like that. Whatever
is it Bad Love? Yeah, Bad Love has that because they got the horns in it, and that when I hear that, I hear the similarities with Black Keys, very soulful and bluesy.
Okay, that's how I would describe it. Soulful and kind of bluesy.
Yeah,
but still kind of funky.
I want to hear more of that, actually.
Me too, and I don't mean funky like funk. I mean funky like different, and it sounded really nice. I liked it.
Yeah, so I definitely want to check these cats out live. That'd be cool to see.
Ooh, that would be.
Yeah, I've seen Tricky before a few times, and he always puts on a great show. So,
ooh, that'd be
oh yeah, you want to check him out, man. He was having problems when this album came out. I think like passport issues in regards to touring in America. So I don't know if they got resolved or not. But he's been here before, so definitely. So yeah, that album's worth hearing and picking up, and definitely, like I said, the Night Beats, Who Sold My Generation. And their album before this is Sonic Boom. That's a good record too. So yeah, rock and roll is still around. Did the generation get sold? It might have got sold. It got sold. It got sold about 20 years ago though.
Yeah.
Keeping it real. It got sold. Yeah. It got sold during the time of Nirvana's Nevermind. And what I mean when I say that is that before Nevermind came out and blew up on the scene, there were still a lot of people who did not know what alternative music was. And once they stumbled upon that happy accident, all of a sudden it became cool to reproduce that sound and market that sound. And then all of a sudden you had these alternative bands that weren't really alternative. And the bands that were alternative, that were getting that radio airplay, got pushed off. Right. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, it got sold, but, at the same time, at this time and age, you just got to dig deep to get some good stuff. So, and in regards to rock and roll right now, for anybody looking for stuff that's new, and looking for that generation that's supposed to pick up that mantle from the people before them, you're going to find that like in the indie rocks, in the indie rock scene, you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot of rock and roll worth listening to. That, and probably like part of the electronic scene as well. That's where a lot of that stuff is gone.
Yeah, I feel like just recently rock started to take some different kind of creative avenues, and I'm liking it.
Good. Yeah, me too. And
right?
So now if it can only get to the mainstream, so we'll see. So that's where the difference is.
I think it'll trickle in. I wonder, it'd be a cool idea if like Tricky were to jump on a track with someone who's a little more well known, like AWOL Nation.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but I think Tricky doesn't care. That's what makes him so much fun.
Well, not because he'll gain notoriety, but because more people will hear it.
Yeah, and I hear you. So I'm looking forward to him doing some collaborations. Apparently, he was supposed to do a remix for Biggie Smalls, but Biggie died before it could happen.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an album, like I said, one of his albums. It's Angels with Dirty Faces. Mm-hmm. There's a duet he does with PJ Harvey called Broken Homes. Great song. He actually wrote that song for Aaliyah, but she died. So he has tried to make some avenues in that direction, getting other people to check him out and see who he is. So we'll see what happens, but there's still time.
Yeah,
definitely, because he's still here, and I'm glad about that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Night Beats does next. It's a good album. We recommend both records. Like I said, I just want more bass, but that's just how I am when it comes to. That's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to rock. I rarely hear enough bass in rock albums, so I want to hear more of that.
You're all about that bass.
Well, no trouble. And like I said, when you listen to Bad Love and the horns, I want to see them do some more experimenting with their sound, because their sound is good. Well, I just don't want to see them get trapped and caught up in it.
Stagnant.
Because a lot of times that's what happens with a lot of artists too, is they'll have this defining sound and moment, and then what they do is that sometimes they get lost in it because they can't find a producer or know how to produce themselves to do something different. Like, I don't know, add a keyboard, add some other instruments, try something different. It's easy to get caught up in familiar.
Well, they hit a certain level of acclaim, and like Drake, nothing was the same. It was something new in terms of tempo, speed, even the type of beats. And that one was my favorite. Like, cover to cover, that album is actually one of my favorite hip hop albums, period.
And that's like a sleeper too.
Is it? I thought it was big when it
came
out.
I'm thinking no, I'm getting that confused with, if you're reading this, it's already too late.
Yeah, but that one was good, but it wasn't as good.
Nothing was the same as a good album. It's kind of a little somber though. It's a somber MC on that record.
It is, but the thing is, when was the last time you heard a somber MC like? And that's what I mean, is it's different.
Right.
And you remember, is it The Language? I don't know why they've been lying, but his
yeah, I hear you.
His rap style was different. It was new. Like, he pushed things forward, and I really appreciated that in the album. Or the intro had 3 different beats to it. It was something new. Mm-hmm. And then he just kind of got stagnant and kind of fell backwards.
And
so his newer albums, his lyrics are still there, but it's nothing new, nothing special.
So do you think you get that feel from Tricky with Skilled Mechanics, with it being kind of somber at points?
Yes, but somber's not bad.
No.
No. But I'll tell you what feel I do get from Tricky is it's something new. It's something. It's like that.
He's been around the block.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's something that not too many people do. That's what I mean. Like, he pushes forward.
Yeah, exactly. And we encourage all artists to do that.
Right.
To always just push it forward, push it along.
You don't realize how much you like it till you hear it, and you're like, whoa, why hasn't this been here forever? It's nice.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. So this has been a good podcast. So last week I wasn't feeling some of the music, man, but this week I'm feeling it all.
Yeah, me too. I liked all of it this week.
Yeah, so good. So thanks again for listening to us. We appreciate all of you who do. You're listening to, Captain Keith and
Lieutenant Mariano.
And this is the Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast. You can catch us on GSMCpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Catch us at SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Instagram. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Thanks again, and we'll see you somewhere out in space.
Bye.